So remember how I told you guys that I took a break from YouTube because my health wasn't all that great and I had been hospitalized a couple times this year? And I told you guys I was going to make a couple of videos telling you guys exactly what happened within those hospital stays. So I'm going to tell you about the first time that I was hospitalized this year. I was hospitalized for meningitis, and if I look away from the camera, it's because I have notes on my computer. So, yeah. Basically, I was hospitalized in July this year, like late July, beginning of August, around there. I was like hospitalized for like a week and a half, maybe, or a week. And I had meningitis. So meningitis, all it is an inflammation of the brain and spinal cord membranes that are typically caused by an infection. And basically the way that they treated me was with antibiotics. And I went in there with fevers, so obviously I had some type of infection. I just didn't know which kind. And the symptoms that people usually feel with meningitis are headaches, fevers, and stiff neck, which honestly I had, but I didn't know that it was meningitis because I had a stiff neck and I thought I just like slept wrong on the pillow or something because I couldn't really turn my neck. Like it was like really stiff. Like I could turn it, for whatever reason I could turn it one way, but I couldn't turn it the other way. So that's why I thought I just like had slept wrong on the pillow, because I could turn my neck one way but not the other. And the reason that people get meningitis is that pretty much it's spread by airborne respiratory droplets, which pretty much just means that it's caused by people coughing or sneezing. And since my immune system is sucky, I catch everything and anything that people have. So I'm not sure if anybody around me had it, but I mean, the fact that it's caused by sneezing or coughing, more than likely someone that was around me had it. So with me, I went in that day with my back hurting, my neck was really stiff, I had fevers, I didn't lose my appetite, but I kind of sort of did. But before then, I was at work and I was still working even though I wasn't feeling good. So I had a hard time standing, I had a hard time walking and doing anything to get around, which usually happens when I get the flu, and I always think I have the flu. Obviously that happened when I had sepsis. I thought I had the flu, but my co-workers were actually telling me to go home, and I didn't want to because I tend to do that. I put sometimes work before my own health, and so I had a hard time walking. I was getting dizzy, I was walking really slow, and then one weekend I just was like, I can't take this anymore, and ended up going to the ER, and they admitted me that same night that I went in. I got there maybe like midday, maybe like around 2, 3, and I was already admitted by that night, and I wasn't feeling good at all. So they gave me medication, and they gave me that day they actually gave me a Valium because I was in a lot of pain, and the pain medication that they gave me didn't do anything. So they gave me a Valium on top of it to kind of help me out with the pain. And it helped. Like I was out for a couple of hours after that. But while I was there, they did a spinal tap, which is sometimes what they do when you have meningitis. And given that I have the spina bifida, they just wanted to make sure that my spinal fluid was not infected, because then that would cause more problems for me. So what they did was they did the spinal tap, but by the time I did the spinal tap, I was already on antibiotics. So they kind of figured that my meningitis was viral, even though it came back that I didn't have any infections or anything like that. But again, I already had the antibiotics in my system, so obviously the test was not going to be good anyways. So they gave me that, and then I ended up having to what's wrong, Mia? Sorry. What is she for? Sorry, I'm something on Mia. Anyways, yeah, so they gave me the spinal tap, and I was actually kind of scared of doing it because I had the spinal tap when I had the sepsis in December, and when I had it at that hospital previously, this is the time when I was at a different hospital with the sepsis. I had a spinal tap there, and I actually had a bad side effect. I was in a lot of pain, and this time they actually didn't hurt me. I was fine. But again, it didn't show that I had any type of infection when they did the spinal tap in my spinal fluid. But I had the antibiotics, and I saw the infectious disease team. I had a neurologist come by, and they did almost every single test they could possibly think of, and nothing came back saying that I had an infection, but they still gave me the antibiotics just in case, because I do have the spina bifida. If my spinal fluid was to get infected, it could cause a whole lot more problems for me than people that don't necessarily have the spina bifida, because of the fact that I have hydrocephalus, so that would cause problems for my shunt. So yeah, I was hospitalized for maybe a little over a week, and they wanted to keep me longer because while I was actually admitted, through that stay, I found out through all of the testing that they did, all the scans, the CT scans, MRIs, and the x-rays, they found that I have a tumor in my carotid artery. So they wanted to keep me longer throughout that stay, just so that they can kind of help me with that. But by the time that they told me they wanted me to stay longer for that, I had already just reached my limit with how much I could take, because they kept poking me for new IVs, because my IVs don't last that long. I think that stay alone I probably got poked, not counting the blood draws, just the IVs alone was like maybe 5 times, and I was already over it. And then on top of it, they had to still poke me aside from the IVs just because they needed to draw blood to make sure that my blood counts was okay. And I was just done with being poked. So when they told me they wanted me to stay longer, I had my last IV blow. Like, I didn't have an IV in my arm anymore because the IV that I had was no longer good. And I told them I can't do it. I don't want to have another IV. So they sent me home. And by the time I was sent home, I was still kind of weak. I lost a lot of vitamins with that as well because of the infection. But I was really weak. I got back to work that following Monday that I got discharged, but it wasn't that bad of a stay. It was just more of the pain that I was in. I had a hard time walking, and I was moving really slow, and my neck was hurting. So yeah, with that stay, it was good that I stayed as long as I did, just because they did find that I did have the tumor in my carotid artery. And then also they diagnosed me with anxiety and that stay. So yeah, it was a lot. But I saw a lot of different teams. The infectious disease team, I saw neurologists, I saw different doctors, and they actually did help with building up my medical team, because like I said, I haven't actually had any medical care in the last couple of years. So now having all these medical doctors see me is actually a good thing, because of the fact that I can start up with my care again. So I'm starting to do that now. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's all I have for you guys for today. I just wanted to tell you guys about my first hospital stay. It was for meningitis and what I was diagnosed with while I was there and what happened. So basically, I had the IV, I had the antibiotics administered, and then I had the spinal tap. All the testing that they could have done to make sure that it wasn't an infection was done, and everything came back negative. But again, I started on IV antibiotics right as soon as I was admitted, just in case. So a lot of those tests could have been false. So yeah, anyways, that's all I have for you guys for today. So I will talk to you guys in my next video, and as always, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.